Come on in. This is a very traditional shrine room, or gompa, as it's called, a place to meditate. As you can see, there's a large statue of Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha of our time, who lived 2,500 years ago, and his teachings have continued in a succession from teacher to student over that period of time. So, as part of our lineage from the time of the Buddha, there have been many excellent teachers, and on this smaller shrine we have Milarepa, who was a student of Marpa, and Gampopa, who was a student of Milarepa. In front we have the seat of His Holiness, the 17th Jawang Karmapa, who was here last summer. A picture of His Holiness is still here on the throne of the 17th Jawang Karmapa. He is now 25 years old, celebrated his birthday June 26th, and we look forward to his return next year. But you can see the traditional style here with thangkas hanging on the walls, these offering lamps, and the general structure, the pillars and the rest are traditional Tibetan Buddhist style. You may also see next to the statue of the Buddha these two areas that have the sutras and commentaries. It's called the Kanjur and Tenjur. These are the teachings of the Buddha and the commentaries on those teachings by various masters. And these are all encased here as part of our shrine. So again, to review the sitting posture, the 7 points of Virochana are sitting straight with the spine erect, not leaning forward or back, side to side, but as upright as you can, with the feet in full lotus, half lotus, or tailor posture with one foot in front of the other, whatever is most comfortable for you, so you can sit for an extended period of time without discomfort. The thumbs are in the ring finger joint, that last joint. With a gentle fist, just place them on your knees, slightly straightened so that that provides like a fulcrum here, or like to keep your spine straight. You can feel that straightness when you extend the arms out. You're not locking the elbows, but they're not relaxed either. You're kind of keeping the spine straight. And I didn't mention last time, but it's important to kind of do like a Kegel exercise. You're tightening the anal sphincter and urethral sphincter, just tightening, pulling up, and then relaxing. You don't have to make a big deal of this, but there is just this tightening of the sphincter and then relax. That helps to bring the channel, the energy of the winds into the central channel, and ideally having that awareness and that focus, that tightening and relaxing. So the base, your knees are making as much contact with the floor as possible, and if you need more support under your knees, you can put something under your knees. Spine is straight. Make that little tightness, constricting the sphincters and releasing. Tongues resting on the roof of the mouth, that prevents you from swallowing, which can be a little bit of a distraction. So tongue is gently turned up, and the tip of the tongue is resting on the soft palate, just in the back of the teeth. Chin is slightly tucked in to straighten the upper cervical vertebrae, straightening the spine slightly more. And the eyes are half open and half closed, looking at a point about 2 feet in front, an imaginary spot. The eyes are unfocused and relaxed. And bring your awareness to your breath. Relax your belly. Feel as if you're being suspended from the heavens by a string, so that you're just hanging, relaxed, straight. Tongue gently curled, resting on the roof of the mouth. And again, relax the belly. Let the belly relax. No tension. You're sitting royally, peacefully, like a mountain, stable, secure, grounded. And let your awareness come to the breath. And just breathing in and breathing out. We're quieting and stabilizing the mind through this practice of focusing the attention first just on the breath. Last night we said we were counting the breath, inhaling 1, exhaling 2. If you find that to be helpful, you can do that, or inhaling, exhaling 1, inhaling, exhaling 2, like that. But we want the breath uncontrived. We don't want to force it in any way. Let it just be natural, whatever is natural for you. As you relax more and more, you'll find that the breath may slow down a little bit. That's normal and that's okay. But we're not trying to force it in any way. And as we mentioned last night, we're not trying to push thoughts away, or we're not trying to have a blank slate or an empty mind. Thoughts will come, but we're just not going to attach ourselves to those thoughts. We imagine the mind spacious, like the sky, and these thoughts that may drift by like clouds in the sky, having their moment of occurrence and their dissolution, but we're not going to attend to them or attach ourselves to them. And while you're sitting and at home, it's okay to check yourself from time to time in terms of your posture. See if you're staying straight so that you don't begin to collapse or become torpid or lazy or sluggish. But we mentioned the analogy of being like a lute. We don't want the strings of the lute to be too tight or too loose. We don't want to be too rigid or too relaxed. There's that fine balance that we need to find so that we maintain pure awareness of the breath, staying with it and noticing any distractions in the way of thoughts or feelings or emotions, and quickly return to the breath. Sometimes giving the air that we breathe in a kind of a smoky quality. We can breathe in, feeling the breath coming in through the nostrils, and then exhaling it out as a kind of a smoky quality, giving it some substance of breathing in and breathing out. You may bring your awareness to the pause between the top of the inhale and then exhale, and the pause at the bottom of the exhale, and rest in that intermediate place of no breath. But again, it's without force, relaxed. The breath should be soft and fine, so that you're not really hearing the breath. It's smooth, fine, thin. And relaxed. Maintain your mindfulness of the breath and stay alert to the introduction of thoughts, and maintain focus on the breath. So that was about 15 minutes. You can stretch a little bit. And in the beginning, there are two things that you'll find, one of two things that you'll find. Either, when you sit and begin to practice, your mind will begin to race, and as you sit, it becomes more and more relaxed, and the meditation becomes easier and deeper. Or you begin with the meditation relaxed and deep, and as you go on, it becomes more and more energetic, and your mind becomes more filled with activity. So, if the latter, if you're sitting, and as you sit, your mind becomes more and more active, then sitting for short periods of time, more frequently, would be better. If you find that it takes a little while for you to settle into your meditation, then sit for a little longer to get the benefits. So you may find one of those two things going on. And we'll review more and more about meditation today, and review the obstacles more and more, and do some walking meditation too to intersperse this. So we will talk more about that. All right, so we've been talking about this path of Buddhism as was delineated by this human being who lived 2,500 years ago, Siddhartha Gautama, who was a prince, and we talked about his life and his subsequent enlightenment. But this is a map, what we're kind of talking about today, and a map. And like if any other map, if you want to go to a particular place, you would have a map, and there's this kind of study that we have. There's contemplation, and then there's practice. So we're hearing the teachings of the Buddha. It's important that you continue to study these things, contemplate them, and then make them your own in the way of practice. So similarly, like a map, if we're going somewhere, we get the map, you're being presented the map, then we have to study the map to know where we're going. But we're not going to get there just by studying the map. We actually have to run the course and to end up in the destination. So similarly, this the Buddha taught extensively, has given us this map. It's being presented to you for your contemplation and study, but ultimately to have the direct experience and to arrive at the destination, you have to walk the path. You have to get there. The map alone isn't going to do it. So that's kind of, the format that we have for today is presenting the map for your contemplation, but the meditation that we do, meditation is very highly regarded because it is considered the vehicle for your wisdom, how you really arrive at this place of recognizing the true nature of your mind, the natural mind that we've been talking about. So again, from our sitting practice, and some of you have been sitting for a long period of time, after this, there was a question that was a very good question. I just want to elaborate on it a little bit, is about when we're sitting, having the breath be natural, whatever that is natural for you is fine. It may be a little bit quicker than someone next to you or a little bit slower, but in the beginning it is what it is, and try not to have judgments about that. That it can really be an obstacle to your practice, is to feel like, well, you're not doing it right, or you should be doing it some other way, that you're not good enough, that this is, all of these, and that's just the nature of the mind, to compare, contrast, analyze, and that's just another thought. So we view that with total equanimity, no judgment. Sometimes we'll have good meditations, and then we want to sit and we want to have this so-called good meditation again, and it doesn't happen, we become disappointed. So we don't have any expectation. We just sit, and we sit regularly, just like brushing your teeth. It's just something you do. You sit for a period of 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever is most conducive, to your lifestyle and your situation. Remembering that you get what you put into it. Nothing more, nothing less. If you practice a lot, you get a lot in return. You don't practice very much, you don't get much in return. And you can kind of do the math. 365 days, if you practice for an hour a day, every single day, I don't know how many people may actually practice for an hour a day, but that comes to about 2 weeks of practice. You do the math and figure it out. That's why we do 3 years retreats. 3 years and 3 monthly lunar cycles. It says that it takes about that much time to have a basic kind of stabilization of mind. That's basic. Starting point. We do certain preliminary practices. We talked about the 4 thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma, to kind of inspire ourselves, to move us in the right direction, because there's a lot of distractions out there. We talked about those 4 things, the preciousness of this human rebirth, impermanence, karma. If you do good deeds, good things will happen. You do bad deeds, bad things will happen. It's pretty simple. But that really even starts with the mind. Everything really starts with the mind and our thought, our intention, our practice. Why are we practicing? The Mahayana tradition is we're practicing for the benefit of all sentient beings. That particular motivation is very important to really succeeding on the path. So when we're on the cushion, and we'll talk more about the actual practice of, what do you do at home in your daily routine? Sitting and contemplating, at least briefly, these 4 thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma, to develop the right intention and motivation, to do shamatha, to sit quietly, stabilize the mind. And we'll do Tonglen today as well, this sending and receiving. It's the development of compassion and loving kindness for others. So we mentioned that there's compassion and wisdom, the 2 wings of the bird to take us to our goal of liberation. So one of these practices, this Tonglen, or sending and receiving, is part of the Losang, or mind training. Lo is mind, Jung is training, mind training that the Buddha taught. And we will practice that a little bit too as a vehicle for stabilizing the mind and cultivating compassion and loving kindness. So we've got a big map here. It's a very expansive teaching. And we can only, we're going to hit some highlights here, the tip of the iceberg. So as I was saying, it's important